Good morning. Welcome back to some Namaste yoga with Do the Good Stuff. If you're here with us live, we'd love for you to comment and let us know. So why don't we start on our backs this morning. You can take a bend in your knees and bring your feet as wide as your mat and let your knees come together to touch. Maybe the arms are open at your sides, palms face up, or maybe if you just feel like you need this extra kind of support, covering, you can place a hand to the heart, a hand to the belly. Just begin to breathe here, kind of settle into your mat space. And I thought we would focus today on this idea that it's okay to be a beginner. I was doing a training this weekend, and one of my friends who I was with, I could see like she just felt all this pressure as it was her turn to kind of try out what this technique we were learning. I could see that she just was putting pressure on herself to be an expert at it already, and she had never done this before. And I thought, how often do I do that? I'm sure those of you listening, like, we can just so easily expect ourselves to be all-stars at something the very first time we show up to it, or even after a few times. And yet the idea of even yoga, it's a practice. We show up and we practice and we get better. But I want this morning for it to be a space where we can release ourselves from this expectation of perfection, and that we just get to be where we are in this process. So maybe it is you're signed up with the Do the Good Stuff Challenge and it's new for you, and maybe you failed a few times. And that's okay. That's part of being a beginner, is getting back up on our feet and trying at it again and getting better at it, making the mistakes and then growing. So maybe there is a new relationship in your life. Maybe it's a new job. Maybe it's some goals that you're setting. Wherever it is, maybe there is an area of your life where you just need to remember, I'm a beginner at this. It's a new hobby. And so let's let this next 20 minutes or so be this space of us kind of exhaling, releasing a pressure to have it all perfect. The goal is to show up where we are and just practice and get better. And so from here, we're going to focus a lot on doing these eagle arms, and I'll show you throughout. Kind of it helps us to open up the shoulders, and it improves our upper back and our posture, and it dissolves any tension in the base of our neck and shoulders. But it also kind of helps us to focus and draw our attention inward and kind of find this inner balance. So we're going to start with some eagle crunches. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to cross the right knee over the left. And maybe you just stay here. If you can, maybe try to wrap that right foot around the left leg. So you're in this full bind. If not, it's okay to just have the legs here. Just keep squeezing to the midline. Kind of turn to the side so you can see if you're confused. With the arms, then we want to take the opposite arm on top. So left arm is going to come over the right elbow. And maybe you hook here. So extend the elbows towards the shoulders. You exhale, crunch elbows to knees. Back out. Inhale, exhale, crunch. Moving with your breath, taking 5 more. As you crunch in, really envision drawing the navel down to the spine. Maybe taking 1 more. And then open the arms, release those, scoot the hips over to the left, to the right, let the knees drop to the left. Open, just twist here. Maybe that right arm's open. Finding the fullness of your breath. Deep inhale. Full exhale out. 1 more breath. Exhale. And then inhale back to center. Uncross the legs, switch sides, left knee over the right, and then maybe you start to work that left foot Maybe that right hand goes to the left knee and the left arm opens up. Notice how your breath feels in this twist. Is there a part of your body that's holding extra tension today? And then as you take your next inhale, come back up, uncross the legs, hug the knees into your chest. And then we'll just gently rock and roll forward and back, come to seated. Find yourself just sitting crossed at your shins. And we'll just take 3 breaths with a seated eagle here. So crossing right elbow over the left. Bring the palms together. If this is too much on your shoulders, you can also just bring opposite hand, opposite shoulder. Either way is fine. Just find where you are today. Remember, letting go of perfection or being any expert here, and just be where you are. Reach the elbows forward and lift them up so that they're in line with your shoulders. 3 full breaths. Maybe eyes are closed. Just envisioning where you're at beginner at something. One more breath. Release that down, just roll the shoulders. And then opposite side, left elbow on top of right. So find that alignment first, elbows reaching out and then in line with your shoulders. Eyes closed. Softening that space between your eyebrows. Just breathe here. Draw the navel into your spine. Find that length in your spine. Last breath in. Exhale, release. And then we'll just make our way to table. And then press yourself right to down dog. So press into the finger pads, so mainly to your thumb and pointer. Let the arms be strong and lifted, and then press the backs of the thighs towards the wall behind you. Let the head be heavy. If you're moving around in it, start to find yourself settled in. And then inhale, right leg lifts. Right pinky toe pointing down, keep the hips squared. And then as you inhale, draw the knee to the nose, step the foot between the hands. And then we're going to blade the back foot for warrior 1. So maybe you walk the right foot out to the right slightly, and then left toes point to the left corner of your mat. As you inhale, rise up, warrior 1. So if you're newer here, just maybe place your hands to your hips and start to guide the hips towards the front of your mat. So for warrior 1, hips are in line with the front. And then we'll inhale, we'll do our eagle arms. So left elbow over right. So finding that extension out with the elbows and then in line with your shoulders. Also here is fine. Press into that pinky edge of your back leg, foot. Maybe bend a little further here, into the front knee. Listening to your own breath, can you start to even it out in this harder pose? And if you want to explore this, you can keep the eagle bind and start to hinge forward, folding humble warrior. If that's too much, you can undo the arms and just place them down. If you need that extra support this morning, that's totally fine. Wherever you are, though, envision your thumb is in your right hip socket and just pressing the right hip back. One more full breath in. Stay for the exhale. And then inhale, rise up, undo the arms if they're not already. And then come to the ball of the back foot. We're going to press ourselves to warrior 3. So we put our weight in this front leg and start to shift forward, hands to heart, and then pick that back leg up. You can also be supported if you're feeling really wobbly this morning. That's also fine. Again, new at this. Receive the grace that you're just showing up for the practice. And then take a slight bend in the right knee. We're gonna maybe just start to bring that left leg forward. If it touches down, that's fine. We're gonna find eagle on this side, so we cross left knee over right. Really sink back, that helps, and then see if you can hook that foot. So the hips will kind of kick to the side and then draw them back. Whew. Remember, focus here. Steady, and then maybe you add the arms, right elbow over left. It's probably burning. Breathe into that. This is temporary, so we just breathe and we wait for it to be released. You can stay here. Maybe you start to slowly tap elbows to knees, just for a full breath, and then back up. Release the arms, straighten the leg, and then kick back. Runner's lunge, fingertips down. On the ball of the back foot, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Inhale. As you exhale, just straighten the front leg, fold. Inhale, bend. Exhale, fold. Kind of just massaging out that standing leg, all the work it just did. This fold, hold for 3 breaths. Drop the forehead towards your shin. Next, inhale, bend into your right knee. And then we're going to just do a little jump switch so that the left foot's forward. And then just walk the left foot out to the left, blade the back foot, right toes up towards the right corner of your mat. Inhale, rise. Warrior 1. Hips are square to the front. And then finding that eagle arm, right elbow over left. Refocus, recenter yourself. Inhaling grace for yourself, exhaling out maybe perfectionism. Let's just push that out. And then maybe you release the arms, maybe you fold forward here, humble warrior. Keeping that left thigh hugging in. Envision your thumb in your left hip crease, drawing it back. Keep pressing your weight into that back leg. It's strong here and supporting you. On your next inhale, rise up, undo the arms. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Start to shift the weight more into that front leg. Come to the ball of the back foot. We'll just press up warrior 3. Balance. So maybe there's a slight bend in that left knee. Draw the left hip back. And then right foot flexed. Lifting from your inner thigh. Inhale. Stay for the exhale. Inhale slowly. Come on up. Crossing right knee over left. It's okay if you have to put the foot down. Sink back into it so you can really hook that in. If you need that kickstand, you can just keep the right toes down. And then left elbow over right. Reach the elbows up in line with your shoulders. Maybe you sink into it a little more in your legs. Maybe you slowly start to tap down. Again, these are options. So if you're shaking so much, don't try this. Just wait, be where you are. Inhale back up. Uncross. And then step back. Hands come down. On the ball of the back foot, inhale up, drop the pelvis, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Exhale, straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend, exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend, lift the gaze. Exhale, straighten and hold 3 full breaths. Maybe walk the hands under the shoulders. Extend out from the hips and then let the forehead reach towards your shin. Stay for this exhale, and then inhale, bend into that front knee, and then we'll just step to the top of our mat, forward fold. Just dangling here, maybe taking the hands interlace at the low back and pressing the palms up. Maybe the arms reach up and overhead. Just stretching out the shoulders. And then let the arms come down at the back of the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Bring the hands to the hips, rise all the way up. And then let's just step our right foot back. We'll come into a wide A here. So the pinky edges of your feet are lined up with the back in front of your mat. Hands to the hips. So if you want to know how wide your stance is, put your arms out. Your wrists should be in line with your ankles. And then bring the hands to the hips. We'll hinge forward, fold down here. You can place the hands right under you. They can go back behind you. Let the head dangle. If you have a headstand in your practice, you can take one here if you want. We'll stay for 5 more breaths. After this exhale, walk the hands to that right ankle. So the left hand grabs for the right ankle. And maybe that right arm just goes up, or drape the forearm to the low back. Let the head be heavy here. Keep drawing that right hip back to center. Maybe you start to draw that right shoulder open. For your next exhale, and then release back down. Walk to the other side. Right hand reaching for the left ankle. Keep drawing that left hip back. It wants to swing out to the side, so draw it back to center. Left arm reaches, or drape the forearm to the low back. Head is heavy. Start to open that left shoulder. Stay for one more full breath. And then release that left hand, come back to neutral. And then we'll just pivot back to the left foot in the front. And then we'll step back, down dog, drop to our knees, come to a child's pose. Just slowly settling yourself back here. Feels good, you can bring the arms back by your heels, or they can stay in front of you. So coming back to that intention as you start to slow the breath down. I read this recently. It says that anything worth doing is worth failing at. And I don't know what it is about our culture, but we just show up thinking everything needs to work out exactly right. And if we fail even one time, we need to give up. That we're not good enough, that we shouldn't be doing this. Somebody else would be better. I should have this figured out. And those are all lies. Failing helps us see where we need to grow, it teaches us. And so if we can start to shift our perspective of what failing means, that it's not something that should tell us that we give up, but it actually helps kind of steer us in the right direction. And if it's really something that we are invested in and care about, then we want to show up to it again and again. And we let the failing kind of reframe our thinking and help us see where we can grow. I want maybe that to be kind of our mantra this week. As you start your week here on your mat, you take this off the mat into wherever you're going. Breathing in that grace for yourself, exhaling out this idea of perfection. See how that might start to shift your goals and the places in your life where you are learning. So I'm going to leave you here in child's pose to stay as long as you want. If you want to roll to your back and take a Shavasana for a couple of minutes, just before you go into whatever is next in your day, feel free to do that. But thank you for showing up here. Thank you for honoring yourself and wanting to live as an integrated person. We will see you next Monday.